Hey, what's going on? It's your man, Tim Jackson, Mr. Purpose on Demand, Mr. Retired at 37, and this is the No More OGs podcast. I am your host, and I'm grateful and thankful to be here talking to you today. Unfortunately, the set of circumstances isn't the best, but we got to peel back the layers and we got to clean up and do some straightening in our own community before, we expect to receive what's guaranteed to us from a positive standpoint. As you know, the rapper Takeoff was murdered last night or early this morning in Houston, Texas, and where he was murdered and how he was murdered is completely irrelevant. The fact that he was murdered is what we're going to talk about because this is the norm for the culture. The culture promotes this. The culture expects for you to die. The culture doesn't want to see anyone pretty much live into their golden years to be able to raise their children and appreciate and spend time with their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren. There's literally a timestamp on how long you'll get around, and the only people that tend to make it past that are the people who do a really good job of appropriating and promoting the bullshit that happens in this culture. But listen, let's dive right into this. This is not going to be a long podcast or a long broadcast. I just want to talk to you about the murder of Takeoff, one of the founding members of the Migos, 1/3 of the Migos. Now, I don't have the details on the story. From what I've heard through social media and what I've heard through the news outlets is that he was at a bowling alley, and at some point a dice game was being played, and during the dice game things got a little dicey, for lack of better words, no pun intended. I'm not here to find humor in this situation because it's a very tragic and very sad situation. Shots were fired and he was struck, and according to the reports, he passed away on the scene. Now, here's where I begin to dissect a little bit further, because what do we expect from our culture? And I say our culture because I've participated in this culture. Now, of course, I have this campaign to separate yourself from the culture and fuck this culture and this ain't my culture. But you know what? Yeah, I'm not going to be that guy who's pointing the finger at people and saying that I'm better than you and you're not this and I'm not that. No. This is not what this is about. This is about getting people to open their eyes and see what this culture is really about. And I tell you guys, I bought into it from the time I was 9-10 years old until the time, really this year, when I finally realized that I'm about to be damn near 40 and I'm still subscribing to a culture that doesn't quite give a damn about me. And I've tried to reason with it. I've tried to work within it. You guys, I've hired different rappers and entertainers to work with me and to do events, and I've paid rappers that I grew up listening to use their music for my podcast and to get on my documentary, and then what I realized is that these niggas don't give a fuck about creating any type of tangible change within their communities, but rather they want to continue to promote and perpetuate the destruction of our community. And I say our community, I mean communities at whole, specifically to people who are black who subscribe to this, because this is what is always associated with us. Now, if you're not black, sit back and listen and get out your fucking feelings. I'm a black man. I'm going to speak to black issues, but I'm also going to speak to this culture that everyone seems to be embracing, appropriating, whatever you want to call it, and the consequences that it has on people who look like me, specifically our men. This is something that I'm addressing in our documentary, How to Kill a Black Man. It's not just the physical killing, but it's the metaphoric killing. It's the spiritual killing. It's everything that's essentially equated to destroying an entity. And when I think about this situation, there's so many layers to it that me, as a person who's achieved success financially, who's achieved success on multiple different levels, that I just see that stands out, that makes me think, why did this happen? And this isn't the first dice game that somebody's been killed at in Houston. In fact, just last month, a famous jeweler was killed at a dice game. So listen, if you're going to shoot dice, you're going to shoot dice. But when you get to the certain point to where you're a millionaire, you need to be shooting dice at casinos, okay? And that's not to wag a finger or point out anybody. I'm just saying, too often we try to become products of our environment by bigging up the culture and bigging up who we are, where we're from, that we can go through the hood. I saw a video, I believe it was one of the members of, I think it was Quavo, don't quote me on this, but one of the other members of the Migos was riding through Fifth Ward. Now, I'm a Dallas, Texas guy. I never claimed to be anything knowledgeable or know anything too much about Houston outside of the family members who I know who live down there and where they live. But I do know that Fifth Ward is not a place that any niggas need to be riding around and just kicking it, especially if you're from out of town, especially if you have a lot going on with yourself, because the block is extremely hot in the dirty nickel. All right, that's no different than Pleasant Grove, where I'm from, or Oak Cliff, or South Dallas, East Dallas, West Dallas, or any hood for that matter. At some point in the game, you're going to have to take a step back and say, yes, I come from environments like this, but now I'm not that person. I am trying to transcend to a different level, and continuing to appropriate and continuing to seek validation from the streets is not going to be financially beneficial for me. And in this case, it's not going to be beneficial to your life. You never know who's watching you. You never know what a person is thinking when they see you. And typically the jealousy, the envy, people killing you, people shooting you, people doing something to you is going to always come from the people that look like you, or people that come from where you're from. It's just how it happens. But let's talk about this situation in particular. Gun violence. Now, y'all, I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like people ain't gonna shoot each other, okay? I would wish that we can wave a magic wand and gun violence will go away. But what I do know is that situational awareness is key, no matter who you are, where you're from. Knowing your surroundings, knowing your environments, knowing how to assess a situation. Being in the wrong place at the wrong time can cost you literally everything. I was talking on a podcast earlier today, and I was talking about, how I got somebody did a drive-by shooting on me and a bunch of my friends and shot up all of our cars while we were in it one time. And I'll never forget, because we were talking about situational awareness, and we were talking about how certain things remind you of certain things, and how there's certain songs that I don't even listen to anymore because it puts me back in the mindset of that situation. Or another time when I went to the club and was driving around the club and hanging outside the club, and the same situation happened where some guys put up in the car and just start unloading and start shooting at the people that we were there with. And I remember that situation. I thought to myself, and I said to myself, and I actually said out loud, I said, I'm good. If coming out to the club and partying and kicking it with certain people in certain situations is going to literally put me in danger of losing my life, I don't want to be a part of it. There's no need for me to even pretend like I want to be a part of that, because I'm not about that life. I don't want to be about that life. I'm not the type of dude that's going to walk around and brag on what I've done and what I haven't done. In fact, you never hear me talk about the shit that we used to do back in the day, because I think it's kind of corny to glorify certain lifestyles, especially if you damn near 40 like me, or if you a grown ass person with responsibilities and people who are depending on you. But see, the culture doesn't teach us that. This culture does not promote living. It promotes dying. It promotes jail and prison. It promotes get high, get drunk, fuck bitches, kill niggas. That's what this culture is all about. And every single week this year, a rapper promoting the culture, promoting the lifestyle, promoting those 4 foundational pillars of the culture, which is get high, get drunk, fuck bitches, kill niggas, is being killed, is being murdered in their own cities, or being murdered when they're out of town traveling and going to other people's hoods. Don't get mad at me for saying it out loud. Get mad at it for happening. And what happens too often is when a person like me, who has literally come from environments like these, says, this shit is getting old, this shit is crazy, this shit is played out, then you guys get upset with me. People get in my inbox, why are you talking down on people? What the fuck? Why am I talking down? Why are you allowing people to create destructive content that our children buy into, and that we often bought into, getting into the fights at the club? Don't act like I was the only one fighting every time the Lil Jon albums came on. Getting into situations in the parking lot with people pulling out guns and shooting, and people getting their life taken. Don't act like you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about when I say that. And don't sit up here and pretend like you were not influenced or encouraged by the music that you were listening to. It's been 6 months since I listened to a rap song in my car. But every single day I wake up with certain songs that are literally playing on repeat in my head. It's like I can't get these lyrics out of my head. And the lyrics ain't talking about shit but get high, get drunk, fuck bitches, kill niggas. And it makes me wonder, if this has an impact on me as someone who's damn near 40, what type of impact does it have on my son? What type of impact does it have on the kids that I mentor? What type of impact will it have on my future children? And people literally live their lives through this spectrum. They literally live their lives as if it's a trap or die song, or it's a movement, and you get online and you stunt and you front, you pretend to be somebody you're not, simply because the culture is telling you that that's what's cool. And I know you guys are hopping in, well, these white companies are the ones that's putting it out there. They the ones that, nah, man, fuck all that. I don't want to hear that shit. Yes, corporations make it profitable to talk about this shit. Corporations also make everything profitable. This is just what has been pushed towards us, but we've continued that torch by consuming it. And as long as you consume something, it's going to be profitable. The moment you stop consuming it and you start demanding more from a corporation or the people that are putting out this shit, and the more that you start saying, I'm good, this ain't got shit to do with me, my lifestyle, who I want to become and who I want my children to become, I can guarantee you these people will switch up the game. But see, y'all too scared to do that. Y'all act like some little punks, some little hoe ass niggas when it comes time to call shit out. And you know that it's wrong because you sit up in the privacy of your own home, you sit up in your barbershops, you sit up amongst your friends and you talk about how fucked up shit is. But then when it's time to actually make a subtle change, you too scary. And then you hop in my inbox talking about show some grace, show some compassion. Man, you need to switch up your message. Man, get the fuck out of my inbox with that shit. You're not telling these rappers to switch up their message. You're not telling these rappers to stop making music about killing us. You're not telling these rappers to stop making music about, destroying our community. So why the fuck you telling me this shit? You see, what we're creating over here at No More OGs is a culture, a group of people who collectively are saying to hell with this motherfucking culture that is not going to do anything but put us in the grave. I don't want the culture. I don't want the clout. I don't want the association. I've spent thousands of dollars working with entertainers, thousands of dollars doing certain things to make sure that I utilize the culture to spread my message of positivity. But the truth is, the shit just don't mix. You see, it's hard for me to get a rapper to say don't do drugs if every fucking song that they making is talking about doing drugs. It's hard for me to get a rapper to say don't kill nobody if every fucking song they make is about killing folks. It's hard for me to get a rapper to say get out there and buy you a piece of real estate if they don't own any fucking real estate. Or what happens is a lot of these guys are pretenders and they're actually doing all the things that we're saying to do, and they make sure their kids are doing it, and their kids don't listen to their music, and their kids don't, even have access to this shit, but they sell it to our kids. Yeah, that's the shit that I'm on right now, calling that shit out. So, you know what? My condolences to, the family of Takeoff. It's never a good thing to lose someone, specifically through murder. I've lost people through murder. Man, that's something that's hard to experience. I've never lost a brother or a family member or a sibling to murder, but I've lost a lot of friends to gun violence. I would never wish this upon anyone, but at some point in the game, we're going to have to acknowledge that we bear the seeds, or the fruits, of the seeds that we plant. And I say we. If I go out and promote a bunch of shit that's destructive, what's going to happen to me is destruction. And typically, when you least expect it, or when you really don't have anything to do with shit, is when it creeps up on you the most. But see, if you say that out loud, oh, come on, man, that's cold. No, it's not cold. It's reality. It's logic. When will logic begin to play a part in the change that needs to be created? When are y'all gonna stop expecting for these blue check motherfuckers to automatically just wake up one day and change their mind? This is why I don't trust celebrity activists, especially the rappers, because they get up on the camera talking about what all needs to be done to change, and then they hop their ass on the road and perform them same songs that's been destroying our communities for decades. It's time for you, the regular, common person, to say, I'm good on this shit. Because the more you subscribe to it, trust me, the more issues you're gonna get. All right, the more death you're gonna get, the more killings you're gonna get, the more of this shit is gonna happen. And then what always happens is everybody gets on they pedestal. Oh, how did this happen? I can't believe this happened. Why did this happen? Man, fuck all that. Move on. You know exactly why it happened. Until you're trying to actively create change, I don't want to hear shit you got to say. You guys, that's the energy that we need to keep so we don't have to keep making these videos. But sadly, I'm more than likely going to be making another video this time next week or by the end of this month, because another rapper will get murdered, because that's the trend that we're seeing, and that's what the culture promotes. like, subscribe, follow, share. If you're really trying to change this culture, be sure to follow us on Instagram at nomoreogs. It doesn't take a lot. All it takes is a few. We are the few. We'll get it done together. It's your man, Tim Jackson. I'll talk to you soon.